What it be, baby? Did you see that one?
Like, why people ruin everything? How is he a whole ass husband or whatever the hell, and you are messing it up?
Was it the wife?
Aren't they like together or
I
something?
thought that was just like a reporter.
They were like posing together, and then she said, "What it be, baby?" I was so mortified. I was like,
damn.
"Yo, what
Okay,
type of
we
white
gotta
people shit
research
is
that.
this?"
We
Yeah,
gotta
that is
research
true.
that. How are you?
I am all right. In the midst of all of that, yeah, taking it one day at a time. What can I say?
We're swimming.
We're swimming, still swimming. Shout out Mac Miller. It was his anniversary of his death. No, it was his birthday.
Death.
I don't remember.
Death.
Shout
That
out
sounds
Mac
very
Miller.
dark.
I know.
I said that
okay.
death a few times.
Yeah,
Very.
with a lot of passion there. How are you doing?
I'm alright, man. Like I obviously everyone is aware of what has been going on for the last few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks since Uinene's death, and it's very interesting how that death was so triggering for so many that it led to so much.
So much, exactly.
So I'm all right. I've been in a very reflective space, and it's weird that all of this is happening while I was in a reflective space
Yes,
anyway.
exactly, yeah.
So we know that it would be very weird for us to do this episode without speaking,
Without speaking
about
it, yeah.
the events of the last few weeks.
Yeah,
I
and
know.
and actually, it is sort of set in the backdrop of the past couple of weeks. I don't know. Do you want to finish what you wanted to say, or
Yeah, I can finish it. So I know that like it's been a very tough
Yeah.
time for a lot of people. It's been tough for myself as well.
Yeah.
And I think touching on it briefly, the most important thing for me this whole week, outside of knowing that men don't listen and men don't want to be better, it was also just a matter of looking at ourselves and the one thing that we can control in the situation, not like invalidating everything else, because
Yeah.
I know that like a change of attitude in us is not going to do anything. It's not about that.
Yeah.
But so many women like myself knew people who came up on those rape lists, and it was just like a time for reflection in terms of what have I done to enable this person? What have I done
In
to
my
contribute
spaces,
to rape culture in my spaces?
Yeah.
How did I make this person's life easier as a
Yeah.
perpetrator?
Yeah.
And I just hope that like women, and a lot of people have said this, I've said this too, I just hope that women aren't taking responsibility for the things that men in their life have done, but that we're being accountable for how we've made it easier for them to do such.
Yeah.
So we're definitely not going to speak about sexual harassment,
No.
rape, and all of those topics today, but we will at some point reflect.
Yeah.
There's a lot that we need to consult
Yeah.
for on that topic because it's potentially triggering.
Extremely. Yeah.
And we just need to figure out a way to talk about it and with the sensitivity that it needs.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, like you're wishing everyone healing and the strength that they've had that has enabled them to still be alive right now. I wish them more of that.
Because Lord knows it's been hard to breathe.
Like,
It's been hard to breathe. I think what I've learned from everything that's happened is that we need to, I mean, like you said, aside from the fact that men don't listen and then want to come and ask for solutions, despite the fact that the work has been done by people before us, not just like 5 years ago, 20
but like
years ago,
years before,
30 years
because
ago.
I thought I had unlearned a lot. Based on the teachings of women that came before me and like older women in the spaces that I'm in or the spaces that I've created for myself. But damn, like the last few weeks, I was like, you are naive.
Yeah.
Like you got big-headed there.
Yeah.
You thought you knew. But these abusers are innovating every day
Dude.
and using us in interesting ways.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because one thing that definitely, although like I said, we are gonna talk about it in depth. One thing that came up was that a lot of the times we see unwanted male attention as a sort of favor, as something that's completely harmless, when in fact it can lead to so much danger. In fact, it is dangerous because it
At
is unwanted.
all times. Yes.
You know what? So so I realized that in a lot of these instances, when I read a lot of the stories, it was a lot of the times very much unwanted attention from men, and you've because we're so conditioned to sort of be like, no, let me maybe not push this person away. You kind of let your guard down, and I really hope a lot of you aren't blaming yourself. It's really difficult not to, but I hope you're not blaming yourself. I hope you're surrounded by people, insulated by people who love you and are very much invested in your healing. I hope you yourself are also finding that investment or building up that investment into your healing. It is not easy. And as a result, we're going to segue into our
Topic for the day,
which is about resting. I think it's been, especially, I'm setting it against the backdrop of these past 2 or 3 weeks. It's been so wild, just to put it in just the least. And in moments like these, and obviously in our daily lives, whether it's school, whether it's work, we'll touch on that. But right now, I'm mainly referring to what's been happening in days like these or in times like these. Rest is necessary, not just to keep going, but also just to switch off. It's been so triggering. Consuming all of that every day, every hour. It was difficult for me to get off my phone.
Because you know what?
Because I felt like, who am I to just forsake everyone? Like,
exactly. It's like there are women speaking right now, and they don't have a voice anywhere else.
Yes.
And they need to be heard.
Yeah.
And it felt like being online was hearing people, but it was just...
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot to consume.
Yeah.
It was.
I remember
barely
barely sleeping. It is a lot.
Yeah.
I barely slept. Like, it was so difficult to sleep just during the week. And I still had to go to work.
Dude, on the Monday that the death of Uyunene was the murder.
Yeah.
The murder, the killing of you. It was not a death. She was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
When it was revealed on the Tuesday, I woke up and I went to go get my meds because I hadn't taken my meds in like a week or so because I was feeling fine. It's really wrong.
Yeah, no, I
didn't take my IBS meds. Like, I was like, oh, it's fine. Like, kept procrastinating about going to get my prescription. But I was like, I'm not going to cope if I'm not on meds. Yeah. And that's the only way that I was sleeping.
Yeah. And thank you actually for mentioning that, because that is one of the ways in which we can rest. If you have medicine that's meant to help you sleep, please take it. I should have done that. I was, for whatever reason, I was procrastinating on taking my sleeping pills and just resting. And until it was like the end of the week, and I had only been to work. I mean, I had taken the Monday off. I'd only been to work like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday I worked from home, and I was beat down.
Dude.
Like, I was beat down.
You just said something very interesting, and I was thinking about this. So I'm not a person who rests. Like, because I suffer from anxiety and other things, my brain is always... But you know what's weird? That's a lie, because I've come to realize that I rest by procrastinating. So, like, I don't rest in a healthy way. So I literally, like, procrastinate because that's the only way that I can rest.
That was actually me yesterday, because I was like, nah, I'm doing this. And I did do, like, a couple of papers. I'm busy working on my literature review. I'm finishing it. I did a couple of papers, and I was like, let me, like, rest a bit. And I, like, rested the rest of the day.
But my thing is, like...
And that was me procrastinating.
But my thing is, I'm never like, let me rest. I'm like, oh, I'm procrastinating so much because I actually need to rest. But there's so much guilt attached to resting. Yeah. Like, I'd rather deal with, like, the current pop culture reference, like, understanding that we have of procrastinating, where it's like, oh, I'm beating myself up, oh, I'm such a bad person, but I'm procrastinating. Whereas instead of doing the healthy thing of actually resting and being like, oh, you know what, I'm taking 5 hours
Yeah.
for myself.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that there's like a sort of negative viewpoint in terms of like rest, because I mean that's why we have people talking about they sleep, we grind. Sleep is for the dead.
Sleep
What
is for the
other- what
weak.
other one? Sleep is for the weak.
While you sleep, we all have the same 24 hours.
Mates,
Like hustle
you are
mentality.
going to faint in front of us, and you're going to annoy us. Like, please, like, please, guys. And that's what I want to touch on. That resting in a which kind
Capitalist
of
society.
in a capitalist society, which kind of touches on our previous episode,
one, yeah.
Which what is that
Gratitude.
about? Gratitude
in a capitalist
society is that like this sort of capitalist life that we're living, we have no choice. Let me not say life that we're living, that this the society that we've been
We haven't chosen
into,
to.
we haven't
Like
chosen to
I
be
saw a
in.
tweet the other day. Someone was like, if I I should have asked who's going to be there before I was born, because wow. And I was like, damn, I should have been like, what are the systems in this society that I'm being brought into? And then checked out,
So yeah, it's so hard to rest and to rest guilt-free in this society that wants us to keep going,
But
must keep
It's
achieving.
also
we
a
must
society
never-
that like we don't own our time in.
Yes.
You don't own your time.
And that exacerbates the guilt, because you're like, okay, this is not my time, one. Two, the more I rest, the more
I lose out on
on billable hours. The more I lose on billable hours. That's another thing as well, is that, a lot of us have sort of now quantified our time as sort of being money.
But the
how
thing
we
is,
say
like,
time is money.
The thing is, to go to the protest on Friday, the shutdown of the JSE,
Yeah.
or to even take the day off on Wednesday for the shutdown,
Yeah.
we had to take leave.
Of course.
If that isn't a patriarchal capitalist society reminding you that you don't own your time, we own you,
Yeah.
that to me this week was like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa,
Quite
whoa,
mind
whoa.
blowing. Quite mind blowing. I mean,
Take
even
leave
just,
to go protest for human rights.
Yeah.
That's when you know that
I mean, even just sort of, although where I'm currently working, we are allowed to work from home. I don't know if it's as
No, we're
frequently
also
as
allowed
we
to,
want.
yeah.
But even that whole thing of like, no,
You need to
I can't. One, I need to make sure that I'm like always on. Two, like if I'm working from home, like
I need to do the most.
I need to do the most. Three, there's like a thing of, okay, I can't work from home too much. And it's like, but like if you're delivering, what's the problem?
It's the same.
And even just the resistance. I mean, my previous area, there was like a giant resistance to people working from home. We were requesting it, and they were like,
No. The thing is also that you kind of like get this understanding that it's not encouraged
Yeah.
to judge on output versus time.
Yeah.
Because I can spend 10 hours on something
Yeah.
and not do it to the best if the
I can
conditions
attest to that.
aren't
yeah.
amazing. But
100%.
if the conditions are amazing, I can spend
Yeah.
2 hours
Yeah.
and I'm more productive.
Yeah.
Like, I find it so weird that, because now we're speaking about work, but I saw for the first time this year that people are even scared of being sick and resting when
Yeah.
they're sick.
So wild. And then you come to the office. This is a PSA to you people that come to the office sick because you feel bad. I understand it. It's a capitalist society, and white monopoly capital owns our time. But if you don't get your ass back home with your sick ass coughing, just spreading your nasty germs all over us when you're sick, like, are you serious? It's the wildest thing. I remember there was a time, a month or so back, where we had to kick someone out of our,
Do you know
out of
why?
the office,
Like,
because we were like, you're making us
People feel bad about resting when
Yeah.
they're sick because there's this culture, a colleague of mine calls it performative employment. There's this culture of people must always see that you're busy. People must always, you must be here all the time. You must be here. And the fear of not being able to play into that
Yeah.
keeps people going to work even when they're sick.
And,
Even
and
though
staying
like
and staying at work longer than they need to.
Yes.
You'll find someone is done.
they haven't done anything.
Or they're done with their work and they're still sitting at work.
That's what I mean. They're not doing anything, but
Yeah.
because it's there's a bums and seats
Yeah.
culture. Like I must always see you. I must always see that you're busy.
Yeah.
It keeps us from resting because it's like on an easy day, you can finish your work by 3.
Yeah.
You should be able to go home.
Yeah.
Go
The mo-
rest.
I do that. Like,
You're gonna come back
I won't
more
lie, That's the
productive.
boldest thing I've been doing this year with my new job is where I've been coming to work. Although, I need to wake up earlier. I've been coming to work at like 9, 9:30, sometimes to 10 on a bad day. 3:00 on the dot, I'm leaving.
You're done.
I'm done with my work. Because one, I sort of have a policy that, I don't do any work here unless I'm working from home. Because when I come back home, I'm doing my academics. You know what I mean? So I have a thing of like, by the time I'm leaving, I'm done with my work. I don't have anything that's spilling over into the next day. It's done. And so that's been the boldest thing I've been doing as a sort of, middle finger, I suppose, to capitalism. I have not been got, but we will see when we have, performance reviews. They might bring it up and be like, hey,
you always be leaving early.
Yeah, and also there's a thing of where people are. Sometimes I've had that happen. I think I've touched on it before, where you're getting up and you're going early, and they're like,
half day.
Where you half day? One, I'm like, first of all, you're passive aggressive. Second of all, shut up. It's not my fault that you want to sit here. Like, I'm sorry. But there's also a thing of like, where they ask you like, where you going? I'm like, I'm going home.
Home?
And they're like, who are you going home to? I'm like, myself. Nobody. And they're like, no, but like, why are you in a rush to go home? Like, there's nobody there. I'm like,
people think
like
they own
being
your
at
time
home.
when you're a single woman without a
Yes,
child.
100%.
They literally feel more entitled to your time than they do to anybody else's time.
And so when it comes to you saying you want, I've had sort of that clash with my mom as well, where although now she gets it, now that I work full time, but before that, during varsity days, when I'd come back home and I'd be like, I'm genuinely exhausted. And she wouldn't get it. She'd be like, I'm also tired. I'm like, oh, it's not a competition. Like, relax,
My grand doesn't get it.
It's draining. It's draining. For university students, it's
like the burnout. Like coming home for vac in
Yeah.
June and in December,
Yo.
and people think you're there to spring clean.
Yo.
Fuck no. I'm tired, Olga.
Like, my mom had to get used to it at some point, like towards the end even, where it was like, oh, okay, I'm going to give her like a week or a couple of days where she's just sleeping nonstop. There's no do
But
this,
also, like,
there's no do that.
a lot of parents and grandparents come from a culture of believing that only physical and manual labor
Yes,
is tiring.
yes, exactly
so once
that.
you say that you're
Exactly
tired,
that.
but you use your brain in
Yeah.
your job,
Yeah.
they don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean?
Exactly. And that's one thing that I realized, because I also kind of played into that for a while. Because it was difficult sort of explaining to someone that I'm using my full mental capacity when they are convinced that,
It's
tiredness
only
is a
physical and manual
thing.
labor. Yeah.
Until I got I was fully immersed in the workplace, and I realized, using your brain
It's
every day is
tiring.
tiring.
Like,
The
not
worst-
to invalidate anything else, but they're all
Yeah.
tiring. Like,
Yeah.
it's something that requires you to show up
Yeah.
every single day,
Yeah.
and you have an output,
Yeah.
is tiring. It doesn't matter what you're using.
Yeah.
It's tiring.
And for the working folk, I remember like last year, November, because I didn't really take a break much during the year. I remember in November, I was coming home, and when you're so tired, you're crying. Like,
Yeah.
I was so tired.
I know that.
I was crying every night.
I know that.
Like, my eyes would be burning. I'd be like crying because I'm like, I'm so tired, but I can't sleep.
Dude.
And I'm like, I need to
Yes.
cook.
When
and I
you-
need to do this, but I also just can't sleep. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, when your
you know?
brain doesn't want to switch off and let you sleep,
Exactly.
it's a lot.
And so obviously now is sort of burnout season for a lot of people, whether you're at school, whether you're at whether you're working, and especially for the students as well. I mean, second semester is usually
It's a lot.
so tough, and that's why and there's a lot of pressure as well. Final exams, you want to get things done, and that's why we have
you have to save the year.
we have a spike in suicide attempts and suicides during this time. And I think it's something that varsities they're not looking into. They're not actively like trying to solution. And I really wish they would.
They would, yeah.
Because it's such if you notice like the the spike in how many people have breakdowns and all of that, it's during this time. And you know, sometimes in June, July holidays, some people can't even get some rest. I mean, for those of us who have to take leave, because you know, now there's that thing as well. I realized, I was like, my life revolves around leave.
Yes.
And that made me miserable. The moment I made that realization, I was like, I can't even
You don't
rest.
own your time.
I don't
Like,
own my time.
you don't own your time. You need
Yeah.
permission to do anything.
Yeah, that even when I'm sick, like genuinely sick, I have to get permission. I have to go to the system and put in sick leave, and then my boss has to approve it, is wild to me. I'm like, and I'm already in it. It's late now, so
It's very late.
exactly. But I just think it's so. Yeah, no, it's really wild. Anyway, what are the ways in which you rest? Let's go.
I'm ashamed. As I had said, I have a very unhealthy relationship with rest, and I think, as I had said before, I procrastinate, and that's the only time that I actually rest. So I need to work on that relationship. I took leave now for the 20th until the 25th, because long weekend situation, haga. I'm literally going to rest.
Yeah,
Like,
sleep in.
Friday, I'm going to sleep in. Monday, I'm going to sleep in. Tuesday, I'm going to sleep in. Wednesday is back to work.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to sleep in. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to rest and watch things, like things that don't require me to think.
No.
I haven't finished Mindhunter because it was like too triggering right now, because they're profiling the black serial killer that was killing the young black girls. I think that's how far I am.
Yeah.
And I might go back to that. So it's just going to be like good food, cuddles, good TV. That is all.
You deserve, girlie.
Because, whew,
Listen.
it's heavy here.
It's heavy.
How do you rest?
So what I like to do when it's not cold, by the end of the week, I like, when I come back from work, so I don't go out on Fridays typically because I'd be tired as hell.
It's actually such a nice turn up.
I know, like, it's such a great, but like, I
I've
just
done
can't
it
get
for
my
like
body.
the last 3 Fridays, and
You deserve,
wow, I feel
queen.
so young. Like, because
I
then
should probably try it.
you rest Saturday and Sunday.
That is true.
Like,
actually, I should probably try it out and just, you know.
because
and
recovering
see.
on a Monday,
It's not it.
Yeah.
No, I tried that once. It was a bad idea. Anyway, so what I do on Fridays, sometimes when I come back, I have a bath. Like, I soak in the bath. So I do an Epsom salt bath. That, or I do a bath bomb. Like, depending on, you know, these Lush bath bombs are expensive. But typically, like, I use Epsom salt, so that helps to relax your muscles. And obviously, like, when you come back from a hectic week, like, you do need something like that. So I do that. I sleep in. Although my body clock will wake me up.
Dude, it's so frustrating.
No matter what
I
the
wake
time
up at
is.
5 every day now.
Yeah, but I go back to sleep. So what I do is I go right back. I wake up. Maybe I'll be up for 30 minutes to an hour. I go back to sleep, you know. So I do that. But yeah, like, I realized my version of resting typically is just like me being in bed the whole time.
Which is, I don't know.
I guess not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but
Part of me just wants to like expand it a little bit more. Like,
I was like, the other day, I was like, why do I pay for this whole like apartment when all I do is spend time in my bed?
yeah.
Like, it's actually disgusting.
Yeah.
I need to change that. Like, I spend
was
too much
watching
time in the
TV on
bedroom.
TV for the first time in months, like yesterday. And I bought this giant ass TV for nothing.
Dude,
like, no.
I was like, at this stage of the game, I should have just moved into a commune. Like, the fuck? I'm not using my
Yeah.
apartment at all.
Yeah.
Like, I just spend 90% of the time that I'm at home
Yeah.
in my bed.
But I do want to get back into, you know, going to like nurseries, not like with the children.
No, we do not.
No.
No, like
Bad vibes, kids.
nurseries
Nurseries
for
for
plants.
like plants. And I start like go back to doing that. Parks, you know, we used to do those a lot.
Yes, we used to go to the park all the time. We need,
and plus you got the doggies need to be out in nature.
Hey, I need to clarify because I did clarify
You did
last
clarify
time.
last
Okay,
time.
cool. Because I was like, met someone, they thought the dog was a real child.
No.
Saw me,
You might as well be
saw my
so
tummy, and they were
sweet.
like, snatched tummy for someone who just gave birth. It was
I
Funny.
thought we said in the instance of Rihanna, because I've been seeing you
Yeah.
guys actually. Let's just
Like,
tangent.
yes,
all the
Rihanna
way
was like,
there.
let me rest and not like suck my tummy in. And people are like,
and not
this.
be all the way inundated with like exercising and being a tiny person.
So has she come out and said she's not pregnant?
No, she hasn't. But I think because she literally people said she's pregnant because of like the shots. She had a little bit of a bellyana. I'm like, those things are normal, even for celebrities, guys.
Yeah, leave
like,
people
and
alone.
you
Get a
guys are always
job.
doing that to like Beyonce as well. She told y'all like after twins, it's hectic. It's hard to to snap back all the way.
Also,
And
we
she-
don't need to.
we don't need to, exactly. That's something else that we're gonna cover. But yeah, I need to like expand my rest
Same.
to more than just like
So
lying in bed.
that's
'cause
actually
it
interesting
gets to be a lot.
That you've just said, like, going on, like, for instance, we used to go to the park a lot.
Yeah.
We used to do like braais and stuff. It's interesting that you've mentioned like experiences and events with like friends as being an extension of rest,
Yeah.
because we often think that rest is just like me not sitting there and not doing anything.
No.
But sometimes it's just like being able to breathe
Yeah.
without all the other stresses.
Yeah. And all the other thoughts that you're thinking and all the other conversations that you find yourself having, where you just sit with your friends and you're having mindless conversations and you're just chilling. Like, that's rest for me. Like,
And it's actually been very difficult to have mindless conversations over the last
100%.
few months.
100%.
Like, everything has been so heavy, and I
Yeah.
know it's heavy every single day,
Yeah.
but it's just like the last few months, the hyper awareness has
Yeah.
been on another
And to
level.
think 16 days of, whatever
It-
that
we
is,
still
is
have to
coming.
fight that
Yeah,
demon.
we still have to happen. And remember, with the stats that it's
Yeah, there's going to
spikes,
be a
like
spike in violence
spikes,
then as
yeah.
well.
So we're going to have to go back to where we've been. I mean, I don't want it, not that I don't want it to be a constant state. We should always be mindful of these things.
But we
it's
should be-
also, like, how do we, like...
We should be mindful to the point where they don't feel like events.
Yes, exactly.
Where it's something that is a constant in our mind.
Yes.
So that it doesn't feel so triggering. I don't know, I feel very fucky saying all of this, but I feel like it should be something. It is something that we as women consider every single day.
every
I
day,
think the most triggering part of these things, it's always the reactions that come with the most
Yes,
hyper visible
yes.
of these cases, because as we were saying, you then feel the need to actively be there. So you can't not think about it all the time.
Yes, yeah.
Because we are thinking about it all the time, but it's in your subconscious, or it's like
Yes.
it's in the small things you
It's
do
become-
to
it's-
survive.
yes,
But now
there's
it's like
it.
it's confronting you every single day, and you
Yeah.
can't rest
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
You have to
And
constantly
I mean, you
be.
also have to deal with your parents being paranoid, especially for those
Yes,
of us who live
yes,
far
yes.
from our folks
Dude,
and
my
things
gran
like
had to go
that.
to the doctor. Like, my gran was so stressed
Jeez.
last week. She had to go to the doctor, and she was just like, this is too much, because both of her grandkids
Yeah, this
are
side.
studying like away from home. I went to UCT. I've been to the post office so many times on my own. She sent me stuff at UCT, like
Yeah.
via the post office when I was there. So it was like,
Very triggering.
it was very
times,
triggering.
yeah.
And my little sister is at Wits now, and she does things on her own all the
Yeah.
time. So it's like, even, it was weird, because I was like, okay, I think I can switch off from this thing by going off, like logging off Twitter and just,
But it's everywhere.
but it's everywhere,
everywhere,
dude. It's
yeah.
everywhere. It's in the conversations you hear at
Yeah,
work.
it's on WhatsApp, it's on
And also,
Instagram,
for me, like, it was such a hectic week, because I also needed to just, I needed to rest from interrogating myself.
yes.
And it didn't help that I got death threats
From you bitch niggas.
on Twitter this week,
You
and
dusty
someone opened a fake
motherfuckers.
account in my name. But anyway,
Reddit misogynist.
like, I had to rest from that as well, because I was like, okay, like, dude, wow, like that was whoa,
wow.
okay,
That actually
don't
made
touch
me
this shit.
So anxious.
Like,
wouldn't
I
even
was
lie.
scared,
Yeah,
dude.
that
I
made
was
me so
scared.
anxious, yeah.
I was scared, so I had to just leave my phone and be like,
Yeah.
okay, we're resting from this topic.
And
You're
that
here for the
has to be-
light-hearted
and
stuff.
that has to be sort of your trigger to say, you must rest now, is so messed
It's-
up. And
dude.
it happens to a lot of us. It's our our sort of reason for resting is most times very reactionary.
Yes, it's never
It's
proactive.
never proactive.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
today I'm resting. It's always
Like
damn,
something
this-
must happen
yeah.
before I must be like, woo, woo, woo,
Exactly,
woo,
I
woo.
need to rest. And even then, like you can't even process the rest. You can't come back and be like, yeah, like properly and be like, you know what?
I rested.
I
Like,
rested. I did that.
you know, the last time that I felt well rested was when I went home. I went home to PE, and a lot was happening at that time.
relate.
Like, I had an ancient boss that was like patriarchal princess, like microaggressions left, right, and center, extremely emotionally abusive. And I went home to PE, and everything just came into perspective. I was resting outside of like having to tell my little cousin where to go hang her blazer after she comes back from school. I was very well rested. I came back to Joburg. I was like, whew, I can do all things through rest, who strengthens me. Like I was ready. So for me, it's like if I could bottle that feeling and just like
consume it
take
every
a
instant,
sniff,
just-
you know, it would be amazing.
Yes,
It would be
so,
amazing.
Guys, please share with us. First of all, before you share with us, we're encouraging you to take some time out and just be mindful about resting. Don't, like we're saying, don't be
reactive,
reactionary
yeah.
about it. Proactively, we're encouraging you guys where you are listening at the moment to just be proactive about resting. Plan it out, whether it's hang out with your friends without having to put on makeup and dress up.
Yes.
Just be lazy. Just do that. If you're sleeping and you don't sleep often, force
do
it.
that.
If you are, whatever it is, just take some rest. You know?
And don't feel bad
Don't feel bad about it.
about
You need it.
resting.
You
Like,
need it.
and it's also like reclaiming your time.
There's it. Yeah.
It's like reclaiming your
And
time.
owning your time in a world that definitely tells you don't own
It's
it.
not yours.
You
Yeah.
need to have those moments where you say, this is my time and it is for me and me alone. And so we're encouraging you guys to just take some time out for yourself. And we don't want to call it self-care, but self-care.
Yes.
Although, I mean, that's a bigger topic on its own. And whether it's frivolous, whether it's serious, whatever. Take some rest and, share with us how
you
are
rest, because I
resting.
need tips. I definitely need to learn
100%.
how to rest.
100%.
Because, I'm terrible at that.
Yeah, we're not gonna tell you guys to get off social media and all that stuff. Like,
Because,
we're not gonna
you need to be
prescriptive.
there so you
That's-
can listen to our shit. yo.
Yeah, but share with us how you rest. Like, how do you switch off? How do you just block out sort of the stresses of the world? And let us know and we will interact. Check us out on our Twitter at Mgowo, Mgowo on Twitter. We don't have an Instagram. We don't have all of that stuff.
We should create
We
an
should probably
Instagram, but
create
I'm
one.
terrible at Instagram. I
Same
don't know how to
things.
play that thing.
I don't know. I don't even know what to put on there. Like, I'm putting out my phone because there are a couple of people I want to shout out. A couple of podcasts. and
Yes.
YouTubes. First of all, shout out
platforms.
Asisipo. That is, he's always on us. He's always on us. So shout out Asisipo, and he always listens
Shout
to
outs
us.
Capes.
Always putting us out there. He has a YouTube channel. I think he's already like on 2K or something.
Dude,
Almost on 2K.
People know how to play YouTube.
Yo.
Like YouTube and Instagram dribble me.
Listen, like, I don't get them. So shout out Asisipo Bukhwana. Check him out. There is a podcast that I saw that was really, really cool from Rhodes, actually. I just forgot the name. Oh, there it is. It's called The Archive Amabaliwetu. I think.
Oh,
during this
Amabali
time-
8.
yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
Which is a feminist organization trying to broaden our understanding of gender-based violence and femicide through awareness,
Oh,
navigation,
okay.
and
People should
recovery.
check that out.
So check them out. They are Archive Amabali _Wetu on Instagram. I think they're on SoundCloud.
Okay, cool.
Check
And
them
the
out.
platform that we're on,
The platform, Off the Record. Check out Off the Record. It's
it's
Off the
quite
Record
cool.
.fm.
You'll find like a lot of South African podcasts. It's really dope.
So we're part of that network. So highlight our family. We need to be on Google Podcast. I keep saying I'm gonna set it out, guys. Everybody who wants us to be in, I will set it up. I promise you. It's
Keep
just-
sending your requests, guys. We'll
please,
get
yeah,
to
it's
them.
just it's a lot of work, and none of us have Google or Android, devices. So forgive us. But yeah. Thank you guys so much. Also we have a sort of newish member on our team. You're not going to see her because she's behind the scenes. She's going to be shadowing us for a little bit. Her name is Tobile. So send a shout out to Tobile. She's a first year student at
At
Wits.
Wits,
She's
yeah.
doing film and audio or something like that.
So we're growing, guys.
So we're growing. We're, you know, we are growing people too. We don't know what we're doing. But yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.